I stood frozen in the doorway of my office, the air thick with the acrid tang of paint. My desk, my sanctuary, was a crime scene. Red paint smeared across its surface, the word replaceable scrawled in jagged, dripping letters. My pulse hammered in my ears, drowning out the hum of Apex Dynamics' open plan floor. My team, 8 engineers who'd bled code with me for years, stood behind me, their silence louder than any scream. I clenched my fists, nails biting into my palms until I felt the warm trickle of blood. This wasn't just vandalism. It was a declaration of war. I'm Ellie Harper, 32, lead systems architect at Apex Dynamics, a $50 billion zero-cents fintech behemoth that powers half the world's stock trades. My AI platform, Nexus Core, is the invisible spine holding it all together. $3 billion, 0 cents in savings, a patented algorithm, my life's work. But to the C-suite, I'm just the tech girl who doesn't smile enough. And now, someone's decided I'm expendable. I forced my legs to move, stepping toward the desk. My fingers brushed the paint, still wet, staining my skin like a brand. I scanned the room. My monitors were intact, my keyboard untouched, but the message was clear. You don't belong here. My team shuffled, avoiding my gaze. Raj, my senior engineer, cleared his throat. Ellie, we should call security. No, I said, sharper than I meant. I'll handle it. I didn't trust security, not after last month, when my access logs showed someone poking around my Nexus Core servers at 2 a.m., not after the whispers in the break room about new leadership in tech. I grabbed my phone, snapped photos of the desk, and emailed them to myself, time-stamped. Evidence. I'd learned early in this boys' club, cover your ass. Always. The elevator dinged down the hall, and Claire Voss strode in, her heels clicking like gunfire. At 38, Apex's VP of Client Relations was a walking Instagram filter, blonde waves, tailored blazer, smile sharp enough to cut glass. She stopped short, her eyes flicking to the desk, then to me. For a split second, her lips twitched, almost a smirk. "Oh, Ellie," she said, voice dripping with faux concern. "What happened?" I didn't answer. Claire had been gunning for my job since she joined Apex 2 years ago, her charm a velvet glove over a steel fist. She'd cozy up to clients, take credit for my team's wins, and drop subtle digs in meetings. Ellie's brilliant, but so technical. I'd overheard her last week, laughing with a board member about how Apex needed fresh blood in systems. Fresh blood. My blood was on my palms right now. "Probably just a prank," Claire said, waving a manicured hand. "You know how interns get." She turned to my team, her smile widening. "Back to work, everyone. We've got the Titan Corp merger to prep for." My team scattered like roaches under a light. I stayed rooted, staring at the paint. The Titan Corp merger, a $70 billion zero-cents deal to merge Apex with its fiercest rival, was the board's obsession. Nexus Core was the linchpin, handling the data integration that'd make or break it. Without my platform, Apex was a house of cards, and Claire knew it. I spent the morning scrubbing the desk myself, the red paint staining my nails like a stubborn ghost. By noon, my inbox pinged. A summons from Margaret, Maggie Thornton, Apex's CEO. Her penthouse office was a glass cathedral, all sleek lines and city views. Maggie, 55, sat behind her desk, her silver bob immaculate, her eyes cold. "Sit," she said. "I didn't. What's this about?" Maggie sighed, like I was a child throwing a tantrum. "Ellie, you're brilliant, but you're not a team player. Claire's been promoted to Chief Strategy Officer, effective immediately." The words hit like a slap. Chief Strategy Officer. The role I'd been promised for 2 years, the one I'd earned with every late night, every line of code, every dollar I'd saved this company. I'd built Nexus Core from scratch, patented it, and made Apex untouchable. "Claire?" She'd built a personal brand and a Rolodex of flirtations. "Claire," I said, my voice low. "She doesn't know a server from a spreadsheet." Maggie's lips thinned. "She's relatable. Clients love her. You're too intense." The word they always used when a woman didn't play nice. I thought of the paint, the word replaceable. My fist clenched again, the cuts on my palms stinging. "I saved this company $3 billion, 0 cents. Nexus Core is mine." Maggie leaned forward, her voice softening, patronizing. "It's Apex, Ellie. You built it on our dime. Don't forget that." I wanted to scream. Instead, I forced a nod and left, my heels silent on the marble floor. Back in my office, I locked the door and pulled up Nexus Core's diagnostics. Something had been nagging me since the vandalism, a gut instinct honed by years of debugging. I ran a trace on the system logs, and there it was. At 3:17 IEM, someone had accessed Nexus Core's core code from an internal IP. They'd tried to inject a bug. Subtle, but catastrophic. If it had gone live, it would have crashed Apex's trading platform, costing billions and pinning the blame on me. I traced the IP. It led to a guest account in the client relations wing, Claire's domain. My heart pounded. This wasn't just office politics. This was sabotage. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling. I'd been playing defense too long, swallowing slights, proving myself over and over. No more. I opened a hidden folder on my laptop labeled Harper Innovations. My secret. For 2 years, I'd been building a stealth startup, pouring my nights and weekends into a new version of Nexus Core. Faster, leaner, mine. I'd secured $10 million, 0 cents in venture capital, a term sheet waiting for my signature. Harper Innovations wasn't just a backup plan. It was my escape. I drafted a resignation letter, my fingers flying over the keys, short, sharp, no room for negotiation. Then I attached a second document, a report I'd compiled over months, detailing how Nexus Core drove 60% of Apex's revenue. Without me, they'd be bleeding cash by Q2. And there was a third file, one I didn't attach. Not yet. It was my ace, a dossier of Apex's dirty secrets, undocumented processes, regulatory shortcuts, Maggie's pet projects that had tanked millions. If I went public, Apex would burn. I printed the letter and report, slipping them into an envelope. My phone buzzed. Raj, texting. "Board meeting at 3. Maggie wants you there." I checked the clock. 2 hours. Enough time to make a move. I marched to Maggie's office, the envelope in my hand. She was on a call, but I didn't wait. I slid the envelope across her desk and met her eyes. "I'm done." Maggie's face paled. She hung up mid-sentence, snatching the envelope. "Ellie, what is this?" "Read it," I said, turning to leave. "Ellie, wait." Her voice cracked. A rare slip. "You can't leave. Name your price." I paused at the door, glancing back. Maggie's eyes were wide, her composure fraying. She hadn't even opened the envelope yet, but she knew. She'd always known what I was worth, even if she'd never admit it. I smiled, cold and steady. "You made your choice." I walked out, the glass doors hissing shut behind me. The board meeting was next, and I had a decision to make. Play their game, or blow it up. The third file burned a hole in my laptop, its secrets whispering. What was in it? Enough to destroy Apex? Or enough to destroy me? As the elevator descended, my phone buzzed again. An anonymous text. "Check your car, you're not safe." My breath caught. I stepped into the parking garage, the shadows thick, my keys clutched like a weapon. The game had just begun. The parking garage was a concrete labyrinth. its fluorescent lights flickering like a dying pulse. My keys bit into my palm as I scanned the shadows, the anonymous text burning in my mind. Check your car, you're not safe. My Tesla sat alone in the executive lot, its sleek lines mocking the chaos in my chest. I approached, my breath shallow, every creak of the garage amplifying my paranoia. The car looked untouched. No scratches, no paint, but as I circled to the driver's side, I saw it. A single word scratched into the door. Faint but deliberate. Quit. I froze, my pulse a drum beat. This wasn't Claire's style. Her weapons were smiles and whispers, not knives and threats. But someone wanted me gone, and they weren't playing subtle. I snapped a photo, my hands trembling, and emailed it to myself, time-stamped, just like the desk. Evidence was my armor now. I slid into the car, locked the doors, and gripped the wheel, forcing myself to breathe. The board meeting was in an hour. I could fall apart later. Driving to Apex's glass tower, I replayed the morning. The red paint, Claire's smirk, Maggie's betrayal, the sabotage in Nexus Core's code. The pieces didn't fit yet, but they were connected. I'd spent years debugging systems. I could debug this. My phone buzzed. Raj again, my senior engineer, texting. Ellie, you okay? Security's asking about the desk. I ignored it. Security reported to Maggie, and Maggie had just stabbed me in the back. The boardroom was a sterile cathedral, all mahogany and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Manhattan. The boardroom was 10 men in suits, plus Claire in her new chief strategy officer role, watched me enter like hawks sizing up prey. Maggie sat at the head, her silver bob gleaming under the chandelier. Ellie, she said, her voice smooth as silk, update us on Nexus Core's readiness for the Titan Corp merger. I stood at the podium, my resignation letter still warm in my blazer pocket. They expected a performance, a loyal soldier reciting stats. I could have dazzled them. Nexus Core was flawless, handling 10 petabytes of trading data daily, cutting latency by 40%. But Maggie's words echoed, it's Apex's, Ellie. My work, my soul, reduced to a line item. I met her eyes, then Claire's. Her lips curved in that infuriating half-smile. Nexus Core is ready, I said, my voice steady. It's been ready for months, but let's be clear, I built it, not Apex, not Claire, me. A murmur rippled through the room. Claire's smile faltered. Maggie's eyes narrowed. Ellie, she said, a warning in her tone. This isn't the time. It's exactly the time, I shot back. You promoted Claire, who's never written a line of code, over the person who saved this company $3 billion, 0 cents. So let's talk about value. Nexus Core drives 60% of your revenue. Without it, you're a shell. And I'm done pretending that's okay. The room went silent. A board member coughed. Claire leaned forward, her voice syrupy. Ellie, we're a team here. No one's diminishing your contributions. I laughed, sharp and bitter. You've done nothing but diminish me, Claire. And I'm not here to beg for scraps. Maggie stood, her chair scraping. Enough. Ellie, sit down or leave. I didn't sit. I pulled the envelope from my pocket and tossed it onto the table. My resignation, effective immediately, and a report on Nexus Core's impact. Read it. You'll need it when your stock tanks. I walked out, their stunned silence trailing me. My heels clicked down the hall, each step lighter. I'd burned the bridge, and it felt like flying. But as I reached the elevator, my phone buzzed. A new email. No sender name, just a subject. You're making enemies. Attached was a grainy photo of me in the parking garage circling my car. My stomach lurched. Someone was watching. Back in my office, I locked the door and pulled up Nexus Core's diagnostics again. The sabotage attempt from last night was still fresh, the internal IP glaring like a neon sign. I dug deeper, cross-referencing access logs. The guest account was created 2 weeks ago, tied to a temporary badge issued to client relations. Claire's team. But the badge was swiped at 3 a.m. when the office was empty. Someone with high-level access had to approve it. Maggie or someone else? A knock startled me. Raj slipped in, his face tight. "Ellie, you are trending on X. Someone leaked your boardroom stunt." I grabbed my phone. Sure enough, Apex drama was spiking, with posts quoting my 60% revenue line. One anonymous account stood out. "Ellie Harper's the real deal. Apex is screwing her over." The post had 10,000 likes. I frowned. A supporter or a trap? "Raj," I said, "who's got access to the security cams?" He hesitated. "Only Maggie's inner circle. Why?" I showed him the emailed photo. His eyes widened. "Ellie, this is bad. You need to get out of here." "Not yet," I said. "I need answers." I spent the next hour digging, my fingers flying over the keyboard. The sabotage code was sloppy, rushed, but it had a signature, a rare encryption trick I'd seen once before in a hackathon years ago. A name floated up, Derek Chen, a freelancer Claire had hired for consulting last month. I pulled his LinkedIn, his last post, "Big things coming at Apex, stay tuned," posted 2 days ago. My phone rang. James Carter, CEO of Titan Corp, our merger partner. His voice was warm, steady. "Ellie, I heard about the boardroom. You okay?" I didn't trust warmth, not in this game. But James was different. At 45, he was a rare breed, a CEO who'd coded his way up, not schmoozed. We'd bonded over late-night merger calls, swapping war stories about tech's old boys club. "I'm fine," I lied. "Just shaking things up." He chuckled. "You shook the whole industry. Look, I've got a proposal. Meet me tonight at the Standard, 8 p.m., no suits, just us." I hesitated. Titan Core was Apex's rival, and James was a wild card, but my options were thinning. "I'll be there." At 7 p.m., I left Apex, my laptop and a USB drive with Nexus Core's offline backups in my bag. The city was alive, horns blaring, lights smearing the dusk. I drove to the Standard, my eyes flicking to the rearview mirror. A black SUV trailed me for 3 blocks, then vanished. Paranoia? Or something worse? James was waiting in a corner booth, his flannel shirt a stark contrast to the bar's polished crowd. He slid me a whiskey. "To burning bridges," he said, raising his glass. I clinked mine against his. "To building better ones." He leaned in, his voice low. "Ellie, I want you at Titan Corp, co-CEO, full equity, $100 million, 0 cents budget, to scale Nexus Core. You run the show." My breath caught. Co-CEO, autonomy, a chance to make Nexus Core global, not Apex's caged pet. But Titan Core wasn't a charity. "What's the catch?" James's eyes flickered, just for a second. "No catch. But Apex won't let you go quietly. Maggie's already calling me, fishing for dirt." I sipped my whiskey, the burn grounding me. "She can fish all she wants. I'm done with her." He nodded, but his gaze lingered, searching. "Ellie, be careful. You're playing with sharks." I left the Standard at 9, my head buzzing with James's offer. The night was cool, the city's pulse thrumming. I drove home, a modest Brooklyn loft I'd bought after years as a single mom, scraping by on scholarships and grit. My daughter, Lily, was with my sister tonight, safe from this storm. But as I pulled onto my street, my headlights caught something. A figure by my building, hooded, gone in a flash. I parked, my heart racing, and checked my phone. Another anonymous email. "You can't run." Attached was a photo of Lily at the park, taken today. My blood went cold. This wasn't about Apex anymore. This was personal. I didn't sleep. At 3 a.m., I sat at my kitchen table, Nexus Core's code open on my laptop. I'd built it to solve problems, to make order from chaos. Now, it was my shield. I traced the sabotage again, following the encryption to Derek Chen's digital fingerprints. But there was a second layer, a ghost in the code, pointing to a server I didn't recognize. Offshore, encrypted, untouchable. Someone bigger than Claire was pulling strings. By dawn, I had a plan. I showered, dressed in black armor for the day, and drove to Apex. The lobby was buzzing, employees whispering about my resignation. I ignored them, heading straight to Maggie's office. She was there, bleary-eyed, a coffee stain on her blouse. "Ellie," she said, standing, "you can't just walk away." I didn't sit. I didn't smile. I already did. But I'm giving you one chance to come clean. Who's sabotaging Nexus Core? Her face tightened. You're paranoid. This is why Claire was the better choice. I leaned in, my voice ice. Claire's a pawn. Someone's using her to tank me, and you know who. Tell me, or I go public with everything. Maggie's eyes flickered, fear, not defiance. Ellie, you don't understand what you're up against. Then explain it, I snapped. She sank into her chair, silent. I turned to leave, but her voice stopped me. Ellie, wait. There's a file on my server. Look for Project Sentinel. But you didn't hear it from me. I didn't thank her. I didn't trust her. But I had a lead. Back in my office, I hacked Maggie's server. Child's play for someone who'd built Apex's security. Project Sentinel was an encrypted folder buried deep inside a single document, a memo outlining a plan to neutralize Nexus Core's dominance, signed by a name I didn't recognize, Victor Grayson. No title, no affiliation, just a name. My phone buzzed. James, texting. Check X, you're viral. I opened the app. A tech blog had dropped a bombshell. Ellie Harper's Nexus Core is the future. Apex is screwing itself by letting her go. The post linked to anonymized data I'd leaked last night, showcasing Nexus Core's power. The internet was eating it up. Free Ellie trending. But the comments were a war zone. Some called me a genius, others a traitor. Then I saw it. A post from Claire, subtle but vicious. Sad to see talent turn toxic. Apex will thrive without the drama. Attached was a photo of her in Maggie's office, smiling, a new contract in hand. My blood boiled. She was doubling down, painting me as the villain. I was about to reply when my laptop pinged. A Nexus Core alert. Someone was trying to breach the system, live from an internal IP. I traced it, my fingers flying. The hack was sophisticated, targeting Nexus Core's source code. I blocked it, rerouting the attack to a dummy server, but not before catching a glimpse of the hacker's signature. Derek Chen, again, and this time, the IP was clear. I grabbed my bag and stormed to client relations. Claire was in a meeting, her glass-walled office packed with suits. I didn't knock. I pushed the door open, my voice cutting through their chatter. Claire, we need to talk. She blinked, her smile slipping. Ellie, this isn't... Save it, I snapped, holding up my phone with the breach alert. Your freelancer's been busy. Care to explain why he's hacking my code? The room went silent. Claire's eyes darted to the suits, then back to me. You're unhinged, she said, her voice tight. Security. I didn't wait for the guards. I leaned in, my voice low. I stopped the breach, remotely. Keep playing dirty, Claire, and I'll bury you. I walked out, her glare burning my back. The suits were whispering, their phones already out. By the time I hit the elevator, X was exploding. Elieve's Claire trending. clips of our showdown leaking. I'd just made myself a bigger target. That night, I met James again, this time at a diner, the kind with sticky tables and coffee that tasted like regret. He slid me a contract. Co-CEO, equity, the works. "Sign it," he said. "We'll protect you." I stared at the paper, my pen hovering. Protection sounded good, but trust was a luxury I couldn't afford. James? Who's Victor Grayson? His face didn't change, but his fingers tightened on his mug. "Where'd you hear that name?" "Maggie's server, Project Sentinel. He's targeting Nexus Core." James leaned back, exhaling. "Grayson's a ghost. Private equity, maybe intelligence. He's got fingers in every tech deal on the East Coast. If he's after you, Ellie, you're not just fighting Apex." I felt the weight of it, the chessboard expanding. Grayson wasn't Claire's puppet. He was the puppeteer, and I was in his sights. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. A news alert. Apex's stock had dropped 10% after a whistleblower leaked that Nexus Core's processes were undocumented, a house of cards without me. Clients were pulling out, and Maggie was scrambling. I smiled, but it didn't reach my eyes. This was my doing, my leak, but victory felt hollow when Lily's photo was still in my inbox. I signed James's contract, my signature a vow, not to him but to myself. I'd built Nexus Core to change the world, and no one, not Claire, not Maggie, not Grayson, would stop me. But as I drove home, the black SUV appeared again, closer this time. I floored it, weaving through traffic, my heart in my throat. The SUV matched me, relentless, until I hit a red light. It pulled up beside me, window down. A man, face shadowed, stared. Then he smiled, slow and cold, and drove off. I memorized the plate, my hands shaking. The light turned green, but I didn't move. The game was bigger than I'd thought, and I was running out of moves.